Good afternoon, everyone that is on the call. Today we will be covering value-added products in Indian country. And our presenter today will be Carole Palmer. She is the food systems specialist with the Community Outreach and Patient Empowerment Program. I would also like to share a few slides with you in regards to our project here before we continue. This is information in regards to the Arizona Native American Producer Project number 7. It's a collaborative effort between Developing Innovations in Navajo Education, a nonprofit organization, New Mexico Cooperative Extension Service, Diné College Land Grants Office. The project is funded by USDA's Office of Partnership and Public Engagement, Outreach and Assistance for Socially Disadvantaged Veteran Farmers and Ranchers program. The goal of the Arizona NAP 7 project is to increase the profitability and long-term sustainability of Navajo farmers and ranchers. To achieve this goal, activities in 4 key areas are being undertaken: to improve Navajo farm and ranch operations, to increase Navajo farmer rancher knowledge of and access to available programs and technical assistance provided by the United States Department of Agriculture, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, the Navajo Nation, the New Mexico Cooperative Extension Service, Diné College Land Grant Office, and others, to facilitate Navajo farmer ranchers' use of USDA's Natural Resource Conservation Service, Farm Service Agency, and Risk Management Agency programs, to strengthen the organizational capacity of the Navajo Farmer and Rancher Congress to address the current and future needs of Navajo farmers and ranchers. This is our contact information. I am Sadie Lister, the field coordinator, and my cell number is 928-637-5633. Adon enschlene e tanisaninshle tobahapashichin sitnajini dashanale footage ine dashiche. And Sharon Sandman is the assistant field coordinator. You may reach her at 505-427-4262. We have a couple colleagues, Jana Johnson and Jesse Jim. After January, we will all be working on the Native American Producer Success Project. We won't have a Project 7 or 6, so that's something different we'll be doing. We'll be all working together. We won't be separated by the boundaries of Arizona and New Mexico. I would like to give the time now to Carole.
Yat Carole Palmer Yenishe. Irish Nishli, Swedish Bashashin, Scottish Dashche, Beshbachai Dashanale, Bilagana. So I really appreciate your inviting me to be with you today for this webinar. As Sharon and I were talking about the different activities that NAPS has been doing and some of the things that we have wanted to do in collaboration, but didn't, again, due to the current situation with the virus, we've been restricted on our options. But one of the cool things that has been a kind of a bonus byproduct of all of the craziness is that a lot of the conferences and events have been shifting to online formats, just in the same way that we're doing these webinars, and that NAPS has been presenting these webinars. Everybody else has been in the same boat. And so the Intertribal Agriculture Council usually has their conference in December in Las Vegas, and I've never been able to go. But since it was online this year, I was able to go, and I was really happy about that. And so when Sharon and I were talking, I thought, well, wouldn't it be kind of cool? I saw some great presentations, and I just wanted to do a summary of that, because I know there were a lot of people who weren't able to make the conference. And even though it's online, registered attendees can still access the presentations for another couple of months, but I don't know if you can register after the fact. So that'll be something else. But I want to make a note that these are my summaries of these presentations, and I'm hoping to do them justice. They were outstanding. The people are really amazing, wonderful, doing great work. And so if I misspeak myself, it's totally my fault, and it's no reflection on them. They're amazing, and I've included contact information as best I could so that anybody who does see something that they want to follow up on, that they can go forward and do that. COPE wasn't a sponsor of the IAC conference, nothing like that. There's no affiliation other than I thought it was cool and I wanted to share. So I hope that's understood. And this is all intended to be respectful and just, again, a showcase of some of the things that I thought others would be interested in. So that's the link to the conference, and have some of the IAC representatives, their contact information at the end too, so if people want to follow up and find out if they can still get access to some of these presentations after the fact, then hopefully that's possible. I couldn't find a link for that. But one of the presentations that I virtually attended was this Teaching Wellness Through Food and Culture. And this is something that we are always talking about in various collaborations, whether it's rangelands or whether it's farm, garden, school, community, senior center, whatever. Always it's about how the food is such a strong part of the wellness. Food is medicine. And so this woman is with, her company is called Sakari Farm. So her name is Spring Alaska Shriner. I think it's Upingakruk, but she is really a dynamic person. And I don't know if any of the others on attending right now have heard of her or met her before, but she's moved from Alaska down to Bend, Oregon area. And so her operation is there, but she's involved with the IAC. There's some of the various committees and things like that, and she's really got a lot of great things going on. So, and I was particularly intrigued by the value-added components, because she's using a lot of native foods and gathered foods, but also combining them with some non-natives. So the picture of her at the top there, I don't know if you can see my arrow, but she's harvesting lavender, which is not a native product. But again, this is a new era, and it's about honoring that medicine and how that medicine can apply across cultures. So lavender is a very medicinal product. Anyway, one of the aspects of her presentations that I thought was something that we continue to talk about as well is the idea of what are those regional traditional foods that could be incorporated into medicinal products, value-added products. So the slide that she had did some wonky things. It doesn't quite line up properly, but she was surprised when she moved down to Oregon from Alaska that there were some of the same plants, and she was very happy about that, and she's been incorporating that. But as we look at this list, I can see plants that are also common in this region. So ponderosa pine, clearly, cedar, things like the wild onion and the Mariposa lily, paintbrush, cattail, horsetail. So yeah, and these are things that have been traditionally used by people for centuries in this region, and they're still available out there. So one of the things that she makes in her product line is a tea, and with that, she feels it's really important. A lot of her work also includes education, and she works with youth. So just the idea of, as you're developing your product line, if that's where you want to go with your value-added adventures, the idea of making sure that you include native language, and that's a way of preserving the language as well as preserving the food. So I think that's something that people tend to forget, but I see it around here when people come up with things, they'll make up a name for it. But I think it's just one of those foundational things when you're looking at value-added products, how to continue to connect it to culture, to language. I loved this product. So she is also known, I think it's within the IAC, they have this tribal food creator program, but there are people around the country, with different tribes, and they have this network of, they're coming up with different projects and different products, and also doing workshops on these with youth and with communities, and so people learn how to do it themselves. And this was a real simple one, but I thought it sounded really delicious and easy. So you're just taking squash, cleaning it, slicing it, maple sugar is something that is more accessible in other parts of the country where there are maple trees growing. So it's a tribal food elsewhere, but they're done in dehydrating it. And then you have this squash candy, which is still going to be high in vitamin C, which squash has, and other nutrients. And it's, even with the sugar, it's going to be healthier than most of the other off-the-shelf things that people are buying these days. So if somebody's really creative and really into coming up with different foods and projects, this tribal food creator network might be something that you would want to become a part of. She has a farm with her husband, partner, and they grow a lot of peppers being one of the regional native foods that has migrated around the world. But they have a line of hot sauces and things like that. And I think, again, as we look at products on the shelves, and you have to be careful what you make claims for when you're thinking about your value-added products and the benefits of it. So she's got here on, reduce your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And that is absolutely a possibility, because peppers are going to improve your circulation. They have vitamin C. They have a lot of good things going on. So remembering that food is medicine. Food is medicine. I think just with the Western influence, everybody forgets that. And they're just, the possibilities are so great of how to bring those things back together. On her website, there were some products that I really wanted to point out, because to me, it's like, ooh, that sounds neat. And I think one of the other things that people don't consider when they're looking at value-added products and such as who's your market or who are you selling to and whatever. And it's not just, you're not just selling to Billiganos, it's to your community, it's to, everybody around, all your neighbors, family, whatever. And so smoked cedar salt and smoked pinon pine salt, I was ready to go do some grilling with that kind of a thing. I don't have them, I didn't order them, but it's like, those sound really good. And that's a very creative way to kind of modernize some really ancient foods, salt and the cedar and the pinon. And then, of course, since we do so many garden projects, I thought it was great that she has a line of gardener's salve. So, had to point that out. And then this one was another neat one, the idea of the blue corn facial mask. So again, it doesn't always have to be food, but it's using food as nutrition for the skin and to cleanse the skin. So combining a traditional corn with lavender and chamomile, which are not so traditional in North America, but are more found in Europe and other parts of the world. So again, being creative and looking at the possibilities of what these plants can do. So this is her website, sakaribotanicals.com, and they are not taking orders right now. And I think that's a good thing. Close down for the holidays and for the solstice and for the winter, and take a break. And then in the new year, starting again. But she's got so much educational information and things like that. So this is somebody that I think would be keep an eye on what she's doing, and go visit her website and get to know her if you're interested in that kind of thing. She also does, let me just go back again. Oops, wrong direction, sorry. She really believes in the farming aspect and getting people back growing. And so she also has the program. They have a farm and they have seeds and they have a network of other seed keepers, and she will help people who want to start their own gardens, small farms. She will try to help get them seeds as best she can. So again, really, really great. So this one, Melinda Williamson, she was part of this same session, and her product is kombucha. And how she got into this, I've included a little bit of her background there, but she had gotten really sick, and the autoimmune disease that she was diagnosed with is connected to lupus. And she had a friend pass away from lupus and was not not wanting to go down that same path and really looking, well, how do I dress this? What do I do? And so that's where she discovered the importance of gut health, your internal health, and that fermented foods can be really a good way to provide some natural healing. And so she, along this line, and she's always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and so she developed then this morning light kombucha, and is in the process of doing that as a business since 2016. So through the fermented foods. So this is just an example of some of the fermented foods from her presentation. So that's kimchi on the left, and then some kefir, and then I think the kombucha brewing on the right side there. But, she, of course, what the heck is kombucha? So fermented tea created from tea sugar, filtered water, and then the culture, which is sort of like a little, like the same thing that vinegar comes from. So it's considered a tea, but it has those probiotics, which is a new word for us in the last, 5-10 years. We've gotten to hear more and more about what probiotics are. But the idea is that this is something that people could be drinking instead of soda, and it's healthy because it's going to give you some vitamins, antioxidants, and it's going to contribute to stronger gut microbial action and better immune activity. So through this process of developing her recipes, she's incorporated as best she can various native foods that she and her children and her sister and her kids will go out and gather and harvest native foods. And so with that, she does everything in a small batch, and sometimes it might be an even smaller batch. I think she said her largest batch size was like 55 gallons of a particular recipe that she'll do. But if she goes out and harvests something and maybe it's only enough to make 5 gallons, she'll make 5 gallons of that, and it'll be a special small batch thing. So recognizing, especially when foraging and dealing with natural foods, you're not going to have that consistent level of production. So working with nature, working with the earth, and then developing these various products. So one of the other things that is very important to her, and I think that's important to all of us, is the idea of supporting and working with our local growers. And that's why we've always, with the NAPS program activities, we talk about value-added products as a way of building up our local producers, that it's maybe not, just about the one particular thing, but how to add value, how to stretch that into various products. So she has on her website, she'll have as a list of the different farms that she works with. She tries to get things from the tribal orchard. There's a tribal orchard. So it's a way of supporting the local economy, as well as developing a food that is going to be nutritious, healthy, that sort of thing. So, and the other thing throughout all these presentations, it's the idea of, there was so much heart to what people are doing. So I wanted to include this little slide of the heart around that, because it's not about the business, it's about, there's so much more to it. So products that are full of love, full of good intentions, and how important that is. So that's the website, Morning Light Kombucha. I thought I had included a better picture of the products, but I guess I didn't. Sorry about that. But you can just see a little bit to the right of the in the photo on the website, that Morning Light Kombucha. That's a pumpkin kombucha, and I don't personally shop for kombucha. I'm not sure what's out there, but I thought that was pretty neat. Had some pumpkin, and she has other flavors that are. So there's a variety of different things, but morninglightkombucha.com. They don't ship any of their products. They're local sales as far as I can tell, but there are some there's some soaps and things that she works with another vendor on that. So there are some things that could be shipped, but the other thing is they are looking into doing canned kombucha, and that'll probably make it easier to ship. Right now it's all in glass. She's also doing sustainable things with, again, it's in glass, and people are bringing their bottles back for refills because nobody has easily available recycling for glass in her area, just the same as we don't have easily available ways to recycle glass here. So she's using that as a way to promote sustainability. So Jerry Chandro he reminded me of one of our colleagues here on the res, and he's just a really great guy. He didn't do a formal PowerPoint, so this upper photo is him he's showing the camera this maple vinegar that they're developing. He's only had his farm as a business for about a year now, so he's really making it a family enterprise and really getting his kids involved in it, but also looking at what their resources are. And he has, again, he's in a region where they have maple trees, and they do the tapping of the tree to get maple syrup and do maple products. So that vinegar is something that they're working on to make available. And it's, again, such small batch. He doesn't have a website to really promote it, because even what they're able to make, if they, they just, it's sold out very quickly for whatever they sell. But below that, you can see a beautiful photo of some of the maple syrup and the maple sugar. And again, the idea that it's done with love, it's done to honor the life and the ancestors, and as well as all the other relatives. And I think this is something that the Western agriculture really needs to embrace and learn from, because to me, maybe that's one of the origins of some of these many different diseases and health issues that we face, is a lot of our food right now is industrial and not being created with love. And that was something I had learned very early on, and when I came to Navajo Nation, with the idea that you should always prepare food with love, and everything that you should do should be done with good intentions. So Jerry really embodies that in all of the work that he does, and I just found his story really inspiring. He's on Facebook, so I took the little ones out of the picture, but again, he's involving his kids in the process, and I just loved that thought of, today it's little ones at our kitchen table feeding others they don't yet know. What will your tomorrow be? Eat well, rest well, be well. And I just love that. Little steps become big changes, and we try to involve youth and different, all ages in our programming as we go out and work with communities. But it's kind of a constant thing that we just, if the more we all work together in this way and provide good examples for the youth, then that's just more inspiration for the future to become even better and better. So that's his Facebook page. Again, I would encourage you to go check it out. There's just, he's in northern Michigan. So, and these are not people that are close by on the res, but with virtual, our virtual world right now, that doesn't mean he couldn't be a presenter, or this group couldn't be presenters at future NAPS webinars, just to have more of a regional and national and international engagement of some of these activities. And then this was a different session in DigiKitchen. Mariah Gladstone, now I can't remember, I didn't put the name of her session for the conference, but she has got a website, and she's just really been involved with trying to, again, make native foods accessible and do some things to make them more fun, I guess, is one way to put it. Put some of the fancy into it, and not just have it be kind of, I don't know. But anyway, she's got some really cool website, good things going on. So her work also involves incorporating the native foraged plants when it makes sense, and again, inspiring people to appreciate to traditional foods. I think so much in past history was pushback that, oh, those foods are, not worth it or whatever. And hopefully now we're coming to a point where everybody is recognizing that these were essential foods and they're really incorporated into the DNA and into the spirituality of everything. And it's not just a product. It's not just something that you just pop in your mouth and then you're back down the road doing stuff. You're honoring the earth and honoring nature, and it's nourishing to yourself, your family, your environment. Again, doing things in a good way. So one of the recipes she had on her website that I thought was fun and easy is this amaranth crackers. So hopefully this video plays. It's very short. And that was it for her video, which I thought was great. It's like, well, that's short. So she does also include the recipe, which is, there's a little more to it, but it's a very simple recipe. Amaranth, water, sunflower oil, and then optional herbs. So she has rosemary scattered on those crackers that she made, but certainly other flavorings could be used. And then the details are in the recipe that aren't really in the video, but it takes 45 minutes to get that amaranth to become a dough. And then you bake it for about an hour at 300 degrees. So, but something that's really simple. And it's a way to highlight a food that was something that took a lot of work to gather it and sift it and all those sorts of things, but it's still out there. And now it's become more of a not a fad, but people are more aware of it. It's available in the stores. It's probably available at Walmart now to get the amaranth seeds. They're little teeny tiny seeds. Might probably try it with some of the other seeds, maybe quinoa crackers and some of the other things that are out there. But again, something really easy, and it could be kind of fun. Could be fun to do with kids if they don't get bored. But it's just a way of bringing the past to the present and to the future. So this is another, some of Mariah's had done a TED Talk. It's pretty short. It's like 7 minutes or so. And so if anybody's interested in checking that out, she's very much a proponent and supporter of food sovereignty, food justice, and the resiliency of how traditional foods are just such a close part of who people are. But I love the idea of the Instapot butternut squash soup because Instapots are so popular now. So she did a recipe for that. That's on our website. The dark chocolate pumpkin seed brownies looked really tasty to me. And then sunflower butter popcorn. So things that are a little different, they're fun. They're using native foods, and it looks really lovely the way she's presented it. I don't know if I make it, if it'll look that pretty, but just a really great person. And she's also very interested in getting youth involved in cooking and all ages. So again, that's her website, IndigiKitchen. So go check it out when you get a chance. And the other thing I thought I should mention is the idea of, well, that's great, we can talk about food and all that, but there are still issues around policies and things. And so one of the other presentations that was really great was about developing food policy. And so the Great Lakes Indian Fish and Wildlife Commission, GLFWIC, as they're known, has been working on a model food code because a lot of their traditional foods are wild harvested. The game, the deer, the elk, those kinds of things, and so they have ceded territories and access, and there's a whole other level of politics of how they get access to their foods traditionally. But they've got this food code, and it's something that is available for others to look at and reference. They're just finishing it up. So this is what I think Navajo is working toward, and I'm not sure if the Pueblos have gotten very involved in this, but Philomena Quebec is the one that gave the presentation, and she's a lawyer, but she's the policy analyst for Bliffwick now, and so she has been working with the various tribal members and the various entities to develop this food code. It's been a very big joint project with a lot of people, but anybody with questions can contact her. I've got her information in again, but just again a reminder that the food is not just something that people eat. It, especially for Native peoples, it used to be more true for my people. It's part of who you are.
I think Carole lost her internet reception. That was an excellent presentation. Value added products in Indian country, put together from the IAC conference Carole recently attended. It's wonderful to learn about what other Native tribes are doing to promote value added products coming from their traditional and cultural backgrounds. As Dene, we have extensive methods on preparing traditional foods that is shared amongst our families. Value added, to name a few, are our nail down bread, dried steamed corn, dried apricots, and even juniper ash for blue corn mush. We are also thankful to have partnerships with entities such as COPE, who have extensive resources and the willingness to provide outreach and education to our Dene farmers and ranchers. So I want to thank Carole for being a presenter today. Thank you, Carole. We do have an upcoming webinar series regarding drought management with several different programs. We have NMSU, we have Navajo Nation, and then the Southwest Climate Hub have some presenters coming from there on how to monitor precipitation. So that'll be upcoming. Hopefully you'll be able to join us. I want to thank you all for joining us. We welcome your comments so that we may provide resources of interest to better farming and ranching methods. We would like to continue hosting webinars, posting information on Facebook relating to upcoming events, including monthly newsletters, how to do videos, USDA links and resources, and then all recorded webinars will be shared. Thank you everyone for joining us. You all have a wonderful afternoon. Happy holidays. Stay safe. Wear your mask.
You forgot, wash your hands.
Oh yeah, wash your hands. Don't forget to wash your hands. Hagane.